Okay, tonight's video is going to be me discussing Budget 2025. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kim. If you've been around for a little while, thanks for stopping back. Some of this information was discussed last year in a video, maybe 2 months ago. We're going to discuss it again with some new figures, some updated figures, and then just kind of go over some of the expenses that we have a month and just, how things are here, how things go here, things in our life. And that'll be tonight's video. So we get this off the ground, and then by the end of the year, if you're still following along, you'll see and I'll see just how these numbers added up, how much we saved, how much closer to our goals we are. Were we able to save for retirement? Were we able to have a little bit of enjoyment along the way, be able to afford it? Did I reduce any of the expenses? Did I stay within the budget, break the budget? Was there any low spend or no spend months? Do we break the budget at any time? How are we going to do this in 2025 when we're unsure about costs of goods or costs of groceries and clothing and inflation and interest rates and such, with all these unknowns, because we have no knowledge of it at this point in time, just how things are going to go. How are things going to go, and how am I going to navigate through it? If you're new here, my husband works full-time, I work full-time. I started working full-time in the field that I went to college for about 7 years ago. Previous to that, I worked in healthcare for 21 years and made basically peanuts. I did not save for retirement. I don't have a very big Social Security check waiting for me. We're behind the 8 ball by quite a few years, so my income after paying off student loans of almost $80,000 goes directly into the bank because we need a new car. The current one is 18 years old. We need to move out an apartment and either find a cheaper or more affordable apartment or relocate to a different area with lower expenses, or we need to save up a down payment and buy a house that may or may not now be way overpriced. And we also need to save for retirement. You need to have money. My husband's 401k is not going to help us. He's 11 years younger than I am. So at that time, just the differences in ages in that make that difficult. That's basically his retirement. It's not going to be for both of us because obviously when I retire, there's going to be a whole lot of years left yet before he retires. So we won't be retiring together. I'll be retiring and getting my Social Security check and not bringing any more income into the house. So we're in kind of a situation where we're so far behind in doing those things because I stuck in healthcare so long and was so underpaid for so long, and took so long for me to find a job in my current field that I need to put my income towards retirement and getting old and no longer working. So his wages bring us $3,000 a month in income. Our rent did go up, so it was $1,265. It's now $1,400. In that $1,400, there is a built-in cost of $110 into that $1,400 that we can't negotiate. It's the owner of the building in negotiations with a internet provider company where all of the units, all of the apartments in this community are covered by this internet service. Making it basically a deal. At one time, it was a great bonus for the tenant, and it was a great deal for the internet provider and a great deal for the property owner or property manager. It's not that way anymore because there's so many other competitive services, but in these units, you are forced to take this deal that's been worked out between the owner and the internet provider, and you can't get out of it. And if you say, I've got my own internet, you still wouldn't be able to get out of it. You would just consider that $110 that's non-negotiable as just an extra increase in your rent already, along with the other increases. So it's kind of, we don't want to live in that situation anymore, just forced situations where we're forced to do this and forced to do that. It's been long overdue for us to move. So that's part of a sinking fund that we have to save money for moving expenses and save money just to relocate in general. So we don't want to be in situations anymore, and there will be other situations in our life, but not quite as drastic as this, where you're forced to use a certain internet provider, or forced to use a certain service, or just still pay the amount while you're also trying to get the type of services that you do want. And in some cases in this area, those services want to come to us and provide those services to us, and they're forbidden because of this previous arrangement. So it's made it even more, even if we weren't interested in moving out this year. Just that and what I went through here at the end of the year trying to get different internet just disgusted me. So yeah. So that is our new rent amount, and that also includes pet rent that went from $35 a month to $50 a month. Electric, that's just the winter amount. We don't pay for heat. Heat is radiant. I've gone over that in other videos, so I'm not going to go over it here. But we have very inefficient heat, so whether it's paid for or not, there have been many, many times where we haven't had heat at all, and we pay for our own heat by having space heaters. So this is just the electric to have the lights on, and that's the lights that we actually provide, so our little lamps and stuff like that, because the apartment only comes with a light in the entryway and a light in the den. And thankfully, past tenants put a light in the kitchen, so I'm sure that might sound weird to some of you. I do see that that's actually goes on in some places in New York where apartments are built and none of the lights are put in. There's no lights. It's a completely dark apartment except for an entryway light. So it's quite weird to me, but there you have it. When those lights are turned on, they run up electricity. We have our own appliances, otherwise our electric bill would be a lot higher because we would be running 20-year-old appliances. Thankfully, we have a newer air conditioner because the past air conditioner ran our bill up to almost $200 in the summertime. So right now it's $125. Cell phone is $67. Car insurance for full insurance is $69. If we just wanted liability, it would be $50 or $61. So we might as well just keep full. Groceries are $400 a month. Our cat is on a special diet, so $80 for kitty. $60, that's 2 tanks of gas. That's all we need. That's all we've ever used in our cars, 2 tanks of gas a month. Renter's insurance is about $246, $46 a year. And track minutes, we do put money aside for that, and we buy a $20 card, and that keeps his number, and keeps his phone active. Savings is generally 10, 15, 20%. I forgot to put the number in there, but I will just have it at the end of the video, show you how much savings. And in the savings account, we have sinking funds. First sinking fund is for a car. Our car is 18 years old. Our second sinking fund is for moving expenses. I have looked into that. It's going to cost about $5,000 just to get us moved up out of here into a truck and to wherever we're going to go, even if it's only 50 to 100 miles away from this area. And based on weight, if we go with the service that's based on weight, and if we store any items in a storage shed anywhere in this area, because we just move close to a place close in this area, or even 50 to 100 miles away, the average price for the smallest units in storage lockers around here, or storage garages around here, is $159. I think it's for a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12. So moving expenses, I figured at $5,000. A down payment, well, we don't know what that's going to be because we haven't looked for a house, because we don't know if we're going to stay here or move somewhere else. Those are decisions that will come sometime this year, and they'll be made quite quickly this year. So without knowing interest rates or anything in the economy and stuff like that, right now we're just winging it. We're trying to put as much money away in these savings accounts as possible and spend as little money as possible. We can't reduce any of these expenses. We can work a little bit on electricity. The phone is $67 and always has been. The car insurance is $69 and has been for over a decade. Groceries, I can lower a little bit there. The pet and the fuel won't be lowered. I can put less in savings, but that wouldn't be a very good idea. We need renter's insurance, even if I didn't want it, which I do. It's required to live here. Track minutes, that's an emergency phone for my husband, so I wouldn't want to take that away from him. So there you have it. Income in that, yes, we are lucky enough that if something tragic or unexpected would happen, we would have that second income that we could go into rather than have to have a payday loan or go into debt or something like that. But at the same time, for every dip you do into any of those accounts, that just puts us that much farther behind with ever being able to afford a newer car. And at 18 years old, it's any day, it's any month, it's at any time we could be without a vehicle. And with paying almost 50% of our income to rent, that's just not doable. They say, when you're at that point, you're really at a bad point. It should be more like anywhere from 28 to 32%, which I still think is incredibly high. But when you're getting near half of the income that you produce a month is going to rent. And we're not talking about, this luxury apartment. I live in a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom apartment on the second floor. The building was built in 2000. Yeah, 2000. So the building was built in 2000. This year in June, it will be 25 years old. We're the 4th tenant to ever live in it, and we haven't ever had, and I don't expect ever will, had any maintenance in this unit in all of these years. We've done all of our own. The heating system is 25 years old. Our neighbors that live here have 25-year-old appliances, all bought in big lots when this building first went up, and I remember when this building first went up. So, there's no luxuries, there's no finishes or luxury finishes or anything. It's about 1,100 square feet. There is no carpet left anymore, so there's basically carpet pad. There's a lot of areas that we walk on are wood. Underneath the wood is cement, and underneath the cement is the radiant tubes that heat. Only 3 of the rooms are heated efficiently, so we have cathedral ceilings, so the living room gets very cold. Without all the different things that we do to keep the cold out on a north-facing apartment, we would probably have round-the-clock temperatures of between 58 and 62, which break all the ordinances and break all the laws. So we're not living in any luxury at $1,400. We're living in an apartment that is has a market price of luxury apartments and other apartments in large cities. And the apartment that I live in is located in a small city of about 3,200 people. So it is drastic times. It has been drastic times here for a long while. So we need to make some drastic changes. We just need, all of everything to line up. And I don't know that it's going to happen this year, but by saving and by cutting expenses, whatever it is that we can do, we can make a better situation for ourselves. So that's exactly what we intend to do. Moving on with other things, like I said, if we had any debt, it would just take away from savings. So emergencies and stuff like that, we have plans for emergencies, but it's not taking away from savings. But if we did, there you would have it. A lot of debt, if we had a lot of debt, like a newer car, stuff like that, or we just started making car payments or just started buying a home in an area we're not sure we're going to stay in, it would just prohibit savings altogether. And then rent, I think I discussed that. It should be between 28 and 32% of your income and no greater than that, whether it's a rent or a mortgage or whatever. So, when my husband gets paid, people have asked, the $3,000, is that before or after? That is after. So once he gets paid, there's a percentage that comes out for his 401k, and it's also matched up to a certain percentage by his employer. Our medical insurance is $386, and that's paid each paycheck. He gets paid twice a month, so $386 times 2. Dental insurance is $20 a paycheck, so it's $20 times 2. Medical insurance, except for my leg, that hasn't been used in a number of years. I can't even remember. We'll say 10, 15 years. Dental insurance we've never used. We pay for it ourselves because the dental insurance pays so little for, if my husband gets a filling in that, but root canals it doesn't take care of, in any type of denture work or anything like that, it doesn't take care of. It basically just takes care of extraction. So we're not getting teeth pulled, so it does take care of like a dental exam. It takes care of up to 50 or 60% of that, and you pay the balance. So we really don't use the dental insurance. We still pay for it because it's included in the pricing of the medical insurance. So if you take the dental insurance, lower medical insurance. You don't take the dental insurance, higher medical insurance taken out. So, and then of course taxes with everything before, right after he gets paid. And before we get the net pay, it's 34.5% of his wages go for expenses like these. So, and then you get the net pay of $3,000 a month. So I wanted to go into the super chats. I know throughout, it's tax time now, so I've done my taxes and stuff, and had to include, obviously, as somebody that made money off of YouTube, the $169 I made in the year 2024 from YouTube. And some of that money was a super chat. I think I got paid $102 from YouTube by the end of the year, and then some super chats. And if you don't know what that is, you can do that during a live, or you can also do that in a video via a comment. You can hit a button. I don't know where it's located because I've never done it and never really looked into it, but you can hit a button and it'll ask, how much you want to give this content creator for the content that you're currently watching. And from your Apple phone via Apple Pay, then you hit the amount and it shows up in kind of highlighted in a special color that so-and-so just gave you, whatever, 25, 19, whatever. I just want everybody to know I'm very grateful for that. I didn't know about one of the super chats, but I did know about the 3 or 4 other ones, and I'm so grateful. And I want to make sure, if I didn't say it then, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just to give you a heads up on that, though, in case you're doing, you've done that here and you may be doing it in other channels. I've never heard this mentioned, but just so you know, if you're paying with Apple, I don't actually get the money that you're sending in the chats. So I do pay taxes on that money, obviously, and I do eventually get that money, but I don't get what you send. So if you send $20 as a super chat, Google will take 1/3 of that money, Apple takes 1/3 of that money, and then they give me the balance 30 days later. So if you're, I'm not expecting any more, and I'm not asking for any more. I'm grateful for what I've got. I'm grateful for all of you. I appreciate all of you. And it's overwhelming when somebody sends you money. And I know a couple of times I just sat here with my head in my hands because it just seemed surreal. But I want you to know, if you're doing it with other people, that they may not say anything and you may not be aware of it. But most of the money that you're sending to a YouTube creator is going elsewhere. Okay? And they are getting whatever's left over at the end of 30 days. Also, when I did taxes, we paid $16,000 in rent last year, which is enough to drop me to my knees and make me cry. And we got, when I put that in, how much did you pay in rent with heat included? And I put in $16,000. We got a $300 tax credit back. So that is what I have so far. I will have another sheet here that we're going to go over. But that is the video for tonight. Just kind of discusses budget. I do make a kind of a big deal about this, and I do kind of make a big deal about living on $38,000 or less, and I'll tell you why. It wasn't too many years ago, my husband and I lived on almost $60,000 a year. He had overtime from the time he started working at his job all the way till about a year and a half ago, and then it just stopped. It was built in. It was like a thing that was known that you would always have overtime. You would always have extra money. Big bonuses and extra money, and just all of it just dried up. So, when you get used to that income and you expect that income and you're reinforced time and again that you're always going to have that income, and then all of a sudden the tap gets turned off and you go literally within a couple of months from making $4,000 or $5,000 a month down to $3,000 a month. There's a lot of adjustments to be made. And I made a lot of those adjustments in late 2022 and 2023 making videos when I was just starting out, not really knowing what to create videos about, but I do know what to create videos about, and that is just how to hang in there. To go from, making a lot of money or having 2 incomes or having, whatever, to being dropped down to $3,000 a month, being behind the 8 ball, not having enough saved, driving an old car and needing a new one. Needing to get out of your current situation. It always costs money to get out of your current situation. How can we, cut costs and stuff like that in an environment where interest rates are up, where most people aren't able to buy a house, where the cost of eggs is $20 for a dozen or whatever it is across the United States? How on earth do we cut costs when everything just continues to go up? Well, my videos are going to contain some of that information. How do we do it? This is how I'm doing it. Maybe you can do it the same way. Maybe we can do it together. Maybe I can learn something from you, you can learn something from me. And that's basically what this channel is about. It will also contain just everyday things, I'll have a video twice a week. So one will be about budgeting and will be about numbers and what I spent and how I'm doing. And this is what I bought with the money that I had to spend. And the other day, the video will be primarily about cooking or baking or economizing or meal planning and stuff like that. So a little bit of everything, but one subject will be tackled on one day and the other subject will be tackled on another day, and 2 videos will come out a week. So if you like this type of video, either type, the cooking, the baking, and the grocery shopping, or the budgeting, please hit the subscribe button because there's lots of videos to come. If you like this video, I appreciate you to hit the like button with this video. You'll see it again at the end where I'm sitting and telling you that it helps with the algorithm. So without further ado, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you again. Okay, and then I just wanted to add in a little bit about the groceries and how I may be able to lower grocery costs, even when grocery costs, seem to be rising or at least staying the same and not lowering. In our food or meal plan, we've had basically the same diet and meal plans for a number of years. A number of years back, for various reasons, processed foods stopped in our household, so no more boxes or mixes or stuff like that. If you've watched previous videos, you know I still buy Bush's baked beans because I'm a big fan of Bush's baked beans, and I still buy Campbell's chicken with rice soup, despite the fact that it has garbage in it. It is what it is. But as far as any other processed food, it doesn't come in. We just can't afford it. So if we stay with meat, we've reduced. I stopped eating red meat here a few years back. This year, I'm probably going to stop eating seafood. And so I love chicken. I love chicken and I love turkey, and so I'm happy with that. I still do eat a little bit of pork because I like ham and I love bacon. Other than that, I don't eat meat. I love eating eggs. I love eggs. So my husband still eats some red meat, very reduced and stuff. And our health, we're both in good health. Neither one of us take any type of prescribed medication or over-the-counter medication. So, I think that this diet for us, for our own individual selves and health, has worked. Mainly meat, vegetable, fruit, and dairy. Occasional dessert, which I usually homemade. It's homemade, and here and there you may see something in a haul or in our refrigerator. My husband still likes an occasional TV dinner, which, that's frozen processed food. Occasionally, for convenience sake, we'll have a frozen pizza, but that's the extent of it. Where we don't order out, we don't order in or whatever. We have no carry away or takeaway. But for 2 occasions during the year, like our anniversary's coming up, we'll have been married 30 years. Will we go out and have a pizza? We might. The last time I went out and had a pizza, it wasn't a very good event, but we'll go to a different place and we'll see. I'm still not sure what I'm going to make for our anniversary, if I'm going to make anything. Other than that, we can't afford to go out and eat on a regular basis during the month or throughout the year. So we lowered process, and when you lower process, you lower a lot of costs. Things that I do myself is I go to belong to a CSA throughout the year, where I go to a farmer. I paid a certain amount, and I go to a farmer and I get vegetables for the certain amount that I paid. Or we do an online market order where we order vegetables and fruit from a local farmer, and we go pick that up once a week. And then, of course, we go to every farm stand in this part of Wisconsin. So everything that I get, I process. We eat it right away, and then I buy enough to be able to put it away for the wintertime. So I don't normally buy any frozen fruit or frozen veg. Don't buy any type of frozen dinners because I make my own lasagnas, my own pizzas, our own French fries, own ice cream, jam, cranberry sauce at Thanksgiving. Every dessert that I make is homemade cookies and cakes and brownies. Would do homemade yogurt. There's no raw milk source right now. Do make homemade bread if I need to, homemade dressings for salads. So if I could, and I could if I wanted to make, and we also make our own spaghetti sauce and our pizza sauce, marinara sauce. If I could make my own coleslaw dressing, which I can, but not quite like that maker, I can't think what their name is, that made my husband's coleslaw dressing. But I do make a mayonnaise dressing, and I do know how to make salad dressings and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things when you take those types of foods out of the equation. You probably could, if you're just 2 people, probably get groceries. And please leave it in the comment how much you're spending for 1 or 2 people per month in groceries. But I think that we could probably get it down to about 320 if I just continue to make more. And of course, you have to find time for doing that. So it all takes time, but I try to squeeze it in here and squeeze it in there, and it gets done. So, oh yeah, Hidden Valley Ranch coleslaw. That's yeah, there's just something about that that's just better than my homemade coleslaw dressing. So there you have it. The more that you can make homemade and the more you can stay away from processed frozen meals or instant meals or whatever and ordering out, the closer you probably could get to spending $400 or less in groceries. And so it works for my husband and I'd love to hear how much you spend per month on groceries. And before I go, I always get asked, by very caring and compassionate individuals, that maybe I, could get some sort of benefits and stuff like that. The poverty level in the state of Wisconsin is $20,440 for 2 people. So if that's all you make in a year or less, you are eligible for all kinds of benefits. So you may be eligible for gas or help with your cell phone or your heating bill or food stamps or stuff like that, or the EBT card. But if you make more than that with 2 people, there's nothing. And so with 2 full-time income earners in this household, I would never, even look into something like this, but I did look it up. That is for people that really desperately need it. And since we have a full-time income that we're using and a full-time income that we're putting away, we don't need to contact those services. And as far as food pantry, I actually volunteer at a food pantry outside our county. The one that's in our county serves probably 26 to 35,000 people, or that's the population in this county and half of the next county that it would serve. How many it serves a month? I think it's like 1,500 to 2,000 families. And then the one outside also serves, well over what it's capable of serving, but it still manages to do it, and people still manage to get fed. Both have income requirements, and they're very strict. So like if you'd wander into our community or whatever and need a meal, you'd get a voucher. If you had a family that moved into the area and you had absolutely no food, they would let you have that one time. And then thereon after, once you got on benefits, they would expect you to keep up with, whatever's required. But if you're a family that is making either 1 full-time income that goes over the guidelines or 2 full-time incomes that really go over the guidelines, you're not going to get any, no matter how much your rent is, you're not going to get any help for EBT card or food pantry. So I always want to include that because I do have a lot of people that are, urging me to go to the food pantry to help with our groceries, or urging me to get on some sort of benefits so that we don't have to pay any type of insurances and stuff. And I just kind of wanted to put the numbers out there that it's very strict, and it's strict for a reason, because there's a lot of people to serve in the area, and we want to, the places that run this are running it on a tight budget and want to make sure that the people that they're helping are really desperately needing of the help. And if you like my videos, please hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. I appreciate it. It helps me in YouTube's algorithm. So I'll see you back here again next week.